Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to League Racing TV here for round number 3 of the CTC Console Championship. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, going to be taking you through the action here tonight, and of course, what a circuit we go to is, of course, the Suzuka International Circuit. We're here for the Japanese Grand Prix, where, of course, the S is going to provide a very difficult dynamic here in Suzuka. Of course, 18 corners, one DRS zone down the start finish straight across the track length of 5.8 kilometers, 3.6 miles in length. A lot of iconic corners, of course, up through Dunlop Curve, through the Degners, into the Hairpin Spoon Curve, of course, 130R, and the Casio Triangle. It's going to be very interesting to see how the drivers out there tonight do get themselves around this circuit. Very technical. It's a track as well where you do want a decent bit of front wing to get yourself through that first sector. Of course, the elevation changes, the curbs, if you attack them a bit too much, can really chew you up and spit you out, and that is not what you want. So margin for error, very small. Good chance as well for rain around this kind of circuit. And of course, we're going to be seeing if we are going to get any changeable conditions in due course. But that is how the track layout is right there. The only figure of eight circuit on the F1 calendar. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have to talk about the race results from last week. Now, of course, it was a 1-2 from Shizu Cedar Igniters, with Oscar taking the race victory ahead of Volakongan in second place. But as you can see, a disqualification for Ryzen, who did finish in third, and of course he won the first race. Unfortunately, he has been disqualified from both results, which has really affected things in terms of the championship standings. So we'll quickly have a little look at the drivers' standing. First and foremost, as you can see, Oscar is leading the way, a 20-point lead over Oxcu in second place. Kevin Zumberg there in third. Of course, Silo, who was awarded the win, of course, in the round number 1 for ET8 with his second place. And what that does for the team championship, it means that Shizu Cedar Igniters have a commanding lead up the front of 25 points with our 1-2 finish last time out in Qatar. ET8 there in second place on 39 points. They are 6 points ahead of Evolution Racing. They're in P3 on 33 points. 28 points for Future Racing Team. Team TF10 on 23 points in 5th place. ADM Motorsports in 6th on 16 points. 14 points for Legacy Racing. LR in 7th place. Then we have 11 points apiece for All Elite Racing Team and Bravo Racing Club after Ryzen's disqualification from the first and second race. And then, of course, bringing up the rear, Azuri Esports, they're on 10 points. And yeah, it's going to be interesting because Bravo Racing Club, they started off incredibly well, but with their driver that has picked up a lot of points from, having been disqualified from the first 2 races, it is definitely going to be very interesting to see if they can get themselves back into the proceedings. We are currently just waiting for the invite into the lobby right now. Hopefully we do get one very soon, and we will get ourselves going. But of course, before we move on, let's have a quick word from our sponsors. Of course, first and foremost, we're going to have a conversation about our sponsor at Pivot Media. So let's bring that up real quick. There we go. Pivot Media, the marketing agency offering graphic and video designers to elevate your brand or business. Check out their X in the description below this stream. Of course, as well, to Virtual Setup Engineer, the brand new setup shop for all of your setup needs. They offer setups for all of the tracks plus a custom chat box so you can customize a setup to your driving style. Now, let's have a look and see who will be driving here tonight. Of course, we have Venom and Finley in for Shazoo Cedar Igniters. ET8, we have Lifeboat and Alex Marciano. Alien Motorsport, we have Rev Rob 72 and Powers. Evolution Racing Team, we have sorry, I just got distracted then by something in the background. Sorry, my bad, guys. Evolution Racing Team, we have Connor and Arc Driver. Someone let me know. Let me know if I've pronounced that wrong. TF10, we have Ortiz and Ticho. Bravo Racing Club come in with Predestinado and Syndrome there. So, yeah, we got Syndrome or S95 Dome. For All Elite Racing Team, we have Reese and Josh. Zuri Esports, we have David and David Clark. For Future Racing Team, we have Caden and Dan. And then for Legacy Racing, we have Leora and Typical. So a very strong lineup there for LRs. I'm quickly just going to find out what is the hold up with the lobby. Hopefully we can get everyone. Hopefully we can get in very, very quickly. But yeah, that is the lineup of how everything is looking tonight. Obviously, Venom and Finley, a very strong lineup for Shazoo, Cedar Igniters, Lifeboat, and Alex Marciano are there for ET8. Also, a very strong lineup, and it's definitely going to be an interesting one. So, obviously, with the standings as they currently are, as we'll go on right now, Shazoo have taken a big lead in the championship of 25 points. So it is all on ET8 Evolution Racing, FRT, TF10, Alien Motorsports to try and close that gap. And the question will be if they can go ahead and close that gap first and foremost. Shazoo, though, have been looking very, very strong indeed, as there seems to be an issue that has gone on right now, I think, with the EA not adding. So yeah, I think that is the delay that we're having right now. Apparently there is some issues there, but yeah, Shazoo have been incredible so far. Obviously, Oscar, he's been absolutely impenetrable over the past two races. He is not here tonight, and I just quickly want to check. Oh, apparently our lobby host can't see if I'm online, which might be an issue. Hang on, let me just go ahead and quickly check that, because I should be online as always. I am online. Right, anyway, yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see if the Shazoo appearing tonight will be able to match up to what we've seen from Oscar in the first two races. I am. I'm just trying to make sure I get into the lobby there. So bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Now, of course, I also wanted to check as well because it was a bit of a late change, and yes, it was definitely a late change. Well, two change. Well, there's three changes in that have come in, so I'm glad I went back and had a little look. So we have AM Knight in for Powers. So yeah, it isn't going to be Knight representing Alien Motorsport instead of Powers. Silo is in for Alex Marciano, which is unfortunate because I was looking forward to seeing Alex Marciano on track. Obviously, a driver I've commentated on many times in the past, and it's always great to see him drive. But of course, Silo is going to come in, partnering Lifeboat there in ET8. And Rappy is in for Connor in Evolution Racing Team. So, three changes is, of course, Knight in for Powerless, Silo in for Alex Marciano, and Rappy in for Connor. As we should be getting an invite. Yes, we have got one now, so we are able to join the lobby, and then we'll be able to get qualifying underway in due course. Right now, 14 drivers in, expecting the rest to be flooding in momentarily. So hopefully we can get this qualifying session underway. I think what we might do until we can get everything in. It's obviously like have a bit of a conversation with everyone here in the chat. So I'm just going to bring up the chat real quick and just get you guys' opinions on what you have made so far this season. Like what have been your opinions on the season so far? Who have been the standout teams? Which of the teams where you were very shocked at how well they're doing or how underperforming that they are doing? Let me know in the chat what you guys are saying. For some reason, the chat is not popping up for me. That is, I'll tell you what, we do love technical issues, don't we, guys? We absolutely love them. Okay, yeah, so we got Tech Jacker in the chat. Okay, I've finally been able to bring up the chats now. Saying that Silo is racing for ET8 tonight. Yes, I knew there was one change. I didn't see the ETA change until I jumped in and had a look at the driver changes. So yeah, thank you for that. Yes, Silo is definitely going to be driving here tonight for ET8, and we're going to see if he can take another race win. Of course, he did get awarded the race win with Ryzen getting himself disqualified from round 1 and round 2 for Bravo Racing Club. So Silo awarded the race win in Australia. Obviously, Oscar came through in P3. He got promoted up to P2 in that race. So big points gained for everyone there. As Tech in the chat saying, love it, great league, great teams racing, and of course top commentators. Love that from you, Tech. I appreciate that very much. As May Sports say, a buffering emoji in chat, which of course we love to see. Of course, tech issues being the one thing that does plague absolutely every single one of us on a day-to-day. Whether it is tech issues regarding just anything, like you have tech issues with your wheels, your consoles, your PCs. Tech issues are absolutely everywhere, and we absolutely love it. We absolutely do. But yeah, hoping that hoping we can get ourselves going very soon. Apparently, there is a hold up where there is several drivers missing right now. Trying to have a look at who is missing. So I'm just gonna bring up the driver lineup here in the chat, and hopefully you guys will be able to let me know. So I can confirm that we are missing a lifeboat at the moment for ET8, as we have both of the Shazoo seed igniters in. Lifeboat is missing from ET8. Alien Motorsports, so we got Rev Rob and of course Knight, and we got Rev Rob in, but we don't have Knight, so Knight we are missing at the moment. Evolution Racing Team, Activia, and of course let's have a look. Activia. I think we're missing both of the Evolution Racing Team's drivers here, as we are looking for Rappy and Activa, and I'm not seeing either of them in the list. So we're missing one from Alien Motorsports, one from ET8, both for the Evolution Racing Teams. We got Ticho and Ortiz in for TF10. Bravo Racing Club, we do have Predestinato, but his teammate in S95 Dome is also not here. So that is the 5 drivers that we are currently missing, and I think everyone is saying enough time has been spent waiting on the drivers. And there was the ready up right there, but we are gonna see what's going on. There's I think potentially what we may have is drivers joining mid qualifying, which is not ideal, but of course we are missing 5 drivers. Of course, as mentioned, we are missing Lifeboat from ET8. We're missing Lifeboat from ET8. We're missing both drivers from Evolution Racing Team in Activia, and of course Rappy. We're missing Knight from Alien Motorsport, and we're missing S95 Dome from Bravo Racing Club. So that's the 5 drivers that we are currently missing right now. We do have both Azuri esports drivers in. We have both all elite racing drivers in. We have both of the Future Racing Team and both of the Legacy Racing Team, both TF10, and of course both of the Shazoo drivers. And I think we have just been joined by another driver, and there we go. We're starting to get more drivers coming in, as I believe we have Rappy in, and of course we have I believe, I'm not sure if Archtivia's gamer tag is Schumacher, but if it is, we will confirm that in due course. But it looks like we are now going to be getting ready to go into qualifying. The wait is over. We are running 15 minutes behind, so apologies to everyone in the chat for the delay. But ladies and gentlemen, the qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix here in CTC's Console Championship on League Racing TV is about to get underway. Hopefully the other drivers will be able to join in at some point during qualifying, and they'll be able to take their grid positions obviously down towards the back of the field. as we eagerly anticipate what kind of conditions we are going to be facing here in qualifying. And let us go ahead and have a little look. What kind of conditions we are going to have here in qualifying. 16 drivers in. Very overcast out there, so there is potential for rain. It's going to be interesting, of course, due to there being 16 drivers out there on track. What we are looking at here is, of course, going to be one driver getting themselves knocked out here in Q1. Obviously, if anyone else does join, they will also be obviously knocked out in Q1 as well. They won't be able to take part in further in the session, as we have the first cars coming out on track right now, and that is the RB of, I believe, that's the RB of David Clark out there on track right now, and he's got Silo in behind. And I'm going to let you guys in chat decide who we're going to go on board on with for the first lap of the session, as I just quickly want to be able to see the chat at the same time. So apologies that it has gone on pause momentarily. Unfortunately, once I tab out, it does put the game on pause. But I'm going to let you guys decide on who you want to go on board with for the first flying lap of the session. Do you want to go on board with David Clark, or do you want to go on board with Silo? Let me know in the chat right now. And it looks like Powers has joined. So, I mean, we thought we was going to get Knight in, but it looks like Powers has jumped in, and hopefully he'll be able to take control of his car and get himself underway. So we are going to go on board. Right, there was a late call right there to go on board with Silo, and I do listen to the people, so we will go on board with Silo. Silo will take us on a lap of the Japanese circuit around Suzuka as we come through the Casio Triangle, as he's going to look to get his lap underway here on the throttle to the DRS zone. DRS wide open, and now we begin the lap here with Silo as we head down in towards turn number 1. Throwing the car in and making sure you get the braking right to get the car rotated through turn number 2. Now into the S's, very technical, and you want to be carrying the speed through these corners. It is all about the momentum as we climb up the hill through the S's in towards Dunlop curve, climbing up, shifting up for the gears there. Very easy to clip that inside curb and of course lose the car, but now first sector split 33.4 as we come through the Deckners now underneath the bridge. The only figure of 8 circuit on the calendar as we head into the hairpin. Second gear, the gear of choice there for Silo. So he just got a little bit onto that inside curb, just unsettled his car slightly, and now it is all about the run towards Spoon curve and eyeing up the braking through the first part of Spoon, and then think about the braking and you launch out of the second part of Spoon curve. Now on to the long run down towards 130R, where we're expected to see some good side-by-side action and some moves being made. Silo though goes through 130R, now breaking down in towards the Casio Triangle, taking a good amount of curb on the inside of both, and to the line will come Silo, and it's going to be a 31.4 on the set of the intermediate tyres. We saw David Clark on the set of the soft compound tyres, so he's done a first competitive lap time of a 27.9. As we got Boris has retired from the session, so he's joined late and he's opted to immediately put himself all the way at the back of the grid, and you know, we'll see how he gets on in the race as Ticho Lee goes up into P3, Leora into P4. His teammate we're on board with right now in Typical. Double guessing himself going into the Casio Triangle. Not ideal for Typical here. But you'll cross the line and it's a 34.6. Of course, the intermediate laps, they're not going to be 100% representative as Venom's into the pits. Schumacher on a lap as well. And we're going to see what he can do. But we're not going to be seeing competitive lap times right now. It's just getting your eye in on the circuit. Making sure you get a lap time on the board. We've seen before where not getting a lap time in can really hinder your overall qualifying position. And right now Schumacher 33.7 first sector as we head now towards the hairpin. Silo still has the best lap time of all the intermediate runners thus far, so Silo topping the times for the intermediate runners. Of course, David Clark done his lap on the set of the soft compound tyres, and he's going to be hoping that his lap time is going to be enough that he doesn't have to burn through his soft compound tyres to get the job done. .9 for Schumacher in the middle sector. Little bit of traffic he is navigating here as we break down into the Casio Triangle. Here comes Schumacher now through the final two corners. To the line will come Schumacher, and it's going to be 31.8. Puts himself ahead of Ortiz, but still 4 tenths off the back of Silo's intermediate run. As we got Caden now on a outlap, he's on the set of the soft compound tyres. I believe we just had another driver join the lobby. So it looks like we'll be getting 18 drivers for the start of the race, which is all good. Hopefully the final 2 drivers will be able to get themselves involved as well. There we go, we got Lifeboat in now for ET8. So both ETA drivers are now here. I believe we are just missing both of the drivers from the Evolution. Not Evolution. Which team are we missing right now? We'll come back. We'll come back to that. But Caden just starting his lap now, coming through turn 2. On the exit turn 2, a little bit of a snap there on the exit. Not ideal, but trying to carry the momentum and the speed now for the S's as we climb up the hill. Of course, in towards a Dunlop curve, flat out. Maximum commitment right there from FRT Caden. As we come to the first sector split, 31.7 for him. Yeah, all the Elite Racing team. Thank you for that one, Mike, in the chat. Caden though on the exit of the hairpin now, running down towards Spoon Curve. Of course, this will be interesting to see where his time is relative to David Clark, who's currently on provisional pole right now with a 27.9. Is Caden going faster though? That is the question. 10.1 middle sector split. But FRT Caden now in towards the Casio Triangle. Big lock up there at the rear, but keeps it all in check. Through the Casio Triangle comes Caden now to the line. The FRT driver absolutely smashes that lap, displacing David Clark by 7 tenths of a second. As we got support in the chat for Reese there, currently down in P9. Of course, his teammate not here, unfortunately for him. Hopefully his teammate will be able to come in at some point and take his place at the back of the field. Predestinato out on a lap right now for Bravo Racing Club, who, of course, missing their driver as well in S95 Dome. So TF10 support in the chat from Adam. Of course, both drivers right now currently inside the top 6. Top 5 of the intermediate runners yet to go out on the set of the soft compound tyres, but they are out on the set of softs right now, I believe. So we'll see how they get on. Everyone on the set of the soft compound tyre now. And it's all going to be about who can get the best lap times in. David Clark on another out lap, so he's going again. Looks to be on the same set of tyres. Yes, I have just turned the current tyre. I switched it from the intermediate, from the best to the current. Don't you worry, mate. I was only 1 step ahead of the game on that one. Predestinato though goes up into P2, immediately knocked down to P3 because Ticho there, big lap time there as Ortiz finding more time on his teammate and is right now at TF10 1-2 at the top here in qualifying right now, as we're going to quickly go on board with Finley, who is of course early enough onto his lap right now that we can enjoy a full lap here with Finley. First sector split 31.7 for Finley now as we come underneath the bridge and towards the hairpin. Finley yet to get a lap time on his board. Venom has popped up into P2, a 26.7 for him. Exactly the same time though as TF10 Ortiz. Absolutely nothing separating those two drivers up there on the top of the times right now. But Ortiz, having set his lap first, gets the priority of the top spot right now. But will Finley go quicker? That is going to be the question here. Into the Casio triangle. It's a little bit deep, compromises him on the exit. And that is not going to help Finley, but is going to be a 27.5 for the Shazoo Cedar Igniters driver. As we're waiting for 2 more lap times to come in. One from Revob and one from David, who is on a lap right now. And in fact, it looks like he's actually, yeah, I didn't clock the fuel there at the bottom. It looked like he was about to start a lap, but I didn't clock the fuel, and he's into the pit lane. I believe everyone else is now on in laps. So we did actually just get a time come in. I think that potentially was that typical that just came through with a time? Yes, it was. It was typical that just came through with a lap time right there. We got Lifeboat out there looking to get his qualifying sorted. Of course, he joined the session late. He's currently up in P7. He's on his way back into the pits once again. I believe Dan also into the pits, as Finley should also be in as well. But Schumacher though needs to find a good amount of time. He looks to be on pace right now. Is Schumacher? So there's a 9.7 in the middle sector, 4.1 up on his lap time. This will put him around typical Ticho area if we can get this lap hooked up for the final sector. To the line he'll come. A 26.9 puts him up into P5 right there. So a good lap there from Schumacher. We got Reese on an out lap as well, as he's about to get his lap underway. We'll see what Reese can do right now. His previous lap time was set on the intermediate, so plenty of lap time there to find for Reese as he comes through the S's, now climbing up the hill towards Dunlop Curve. And let's see what the first sector split is going to say. Venom happy with his lap time. He's not going to take any further part in the session. 2.5 tenths up, and that is the same for Ortiz as well. They're both happy. So is Silo. Happy with his lap time also. Reese now into the hairpin. Was 2.5 tenths up in sector 1. How much time has he gained in sector 2 though? That will be the question. Leroy is currently on an outlap as well. Rappy is also on an outlap as well. Ticho happy with his lap time. Typical happy with his lap time. As Reese 4.5 up on his lap time. 4.6 seconds up is Reese, and that right now puts him in a low 28. And I see to find more in the final sector, which he probably should. But here comes Reese now to the line. Where's he going to finish? He jumps up into P7 right there, Reese. So a good effort there from Reese in getting himself up the order, as we got outlaps now coming through, as we're going to have Leroy, the first driver to go. And what we're going to do now is we're going to hide the timings, and we're just going to enjoy this lap with Leroy for just a moment. Here we go, lap time coming in from Leroy right there. So checker flag has fallen, and let's see who is going to get knocked out here in Q1. We got Dan on a lap. Leroy's just finished his lap. Finley just over a 10th up on his lap. He's in a bit of danger. We got David Clark, who is also in a bit of danger, but we have Rev Rob has unfortunately invalidated his lap. We got David on a lap as well. So Rev Rob will be knocked out along with Paradis. So both Alien Motorsports drivers are going to be knocked out here in Q1. But can David get himself into Q2 to the line? And no, he doesn't. So there we go. Our confirmed eliminations here in Q1. David, Prowess and Rev Rob there. So both Alien Motorsports drivers and the Azuri esports driver of ART David, unfortunately for the pair of them, unfortunately for all three of them, they are going to be knocked out here in Q1. They won't be taking any further part in the session, but interestingly, is very tight inside that battle for top 10. So I think Q2 is going to be very intriguing, because we've got some drivers right now who I think they do have it in them to find a few tenths. And if that happens, we could be looking at a low 27.1 maybe in terms of a cutoff, but maybe those clouds up above turn into a bit of wet weather conditions. Who knows? Of course, the two drivers missing from qualifying is, of course, the All Elite Racing Team's second driver in Josh B. And, of course, S95 Dome for Bravo Racing Club. So they're the two drivers that are missing thus far. But we'll run you through the order now just as soon as we transfer it onto the table, or are we not going to get? Are we just going to get the black screen? Doesn't look like we are going to get the table gone, but the three drivers that were, of course, knocked out in Q1, of course, Rev, Rob, and Proudest for Alien Motorsport, and ART David for Azuri Esports. So they were the three drivers who were knocked out here in Q1. The clouds are still out here in Q2, but it doesn't look like there's any rain at the moment. So looks like it's going to be another dry qualifying session. 15 minutes now in this session. In terms of a cut-off time to get into Q3, I'm thinking 27-1. I'm thinking thereabouts for the cut-off point. Let me know your predictions in chat as well, where you think the cut-off point will be. And let me know who you think will be taking pole position here in Suzuka. As we've got our first driver out on track in FRT, Dan here. Of course, he's going to be looking to try and break into Q3 here for FRT. Of course, his teammate Caden also out there on track as well. Both ETA drivers in Lifeboat and Silo also out there. We have one of the Mercedes, the Shizusi that Igniters drivers in Finley on the outlap as well. Leroy, obviously Reese out there. Venom also out on our outlap, as well as David, and of course Rappy out there as well. So first lap here in Q2 going to be set by FRT Dan, as he looks to get a good launch now out of the Casio Triangle to begin his lap. DRS wide open as we cross the start finish line to begin the lap here in Q2. Dan will be hoping this will be he'll be hoping for a 26, but we're going to see if he can get himself into the 26s. Personally, as I said, I think the cutoff will be a 27-1 in terms of qualifying for Q3. Let's see if Dan can get himself in and amongst that conversation as we climb up the hill through Dunlop Curve. First sector split coming up, and it's going to be a 31.5 as we go through the first of the Degners into the second Degner underneath the bridge, and now towards the hairpin. In towards Spoon Curve right now, trying to make sure he doesn't run too wide on the exit, because you can pick up a very silly invalidation there if you just carry a little bit too much speed, but that is not the case for Dan right now. Into the middle sector split. It's going to be a 1 minute 9.8 middle sector split for Dan. Leroy though, looks like he's binned it on the exit of the second Degner. Unfortunate for him, he's going to be out here in Q2, but here comes FRT Dan now to the line. What lap time is this going to be? It's going to be a 27.1 to get things underway here. A Silo, a 26.9 for him. As we're on board with Caden now, as looks like Venom was just getting his lap underway. Caden there, 27.3 for him. Looks like Finley actually might have been validated on his lap. Unfortunate there. David Clark there, 28 flat. Reese a 28 flat. Venom a 27.1. So maybe my prediction of a 27.1 being the cutoff, maybe a little bit too premature on that one. But I'm expecting times to improve in the session. As typical there, does a 27.8. Finley is going for a run, but we'll come back and order him in a moment as Ortiz to the line. 26.7 for Ortiz there. TF10 looking to get some big points on the board this weekend. A Schumacher there across the line, a 27.6 for him. Looks like Finley's actually going to be coming into the pit lane. Ticho also into the pits as well. First runs in qualifying. I think we could be seeing big improvements on the final runs, of course. Ortiz though tops the times, 26.7. Leroy out of qualifying, unfortunately crashing out on the exit of the second Degner. I've got Rappy coming out on a outlap now. Going to be out of sync with the rest of the field, but opting for a bit of a clear air. Let's see. As it looks like Predestinato actually disconnected from the session. He has rejoined the session again though, so he does have time to get in and get a lap on the board, which will be ideal for him. And Predestinato now only has 8.5 minutes to get a lap time in. That'll get him into Q3. Robbie now about to get his lap underway. He knows the time he has to beat. Needs to be a mid 27 right now to get himself into the top 10. Or can he find even more time? Because I'm expecting the likes of Lifebout, Finley and Ticho, as well as Predestinato, to get the mid 27. So that is why I'm putting the prediction on Arabi that he has to get into the mid 27s right now. But we're going to see if he can improve on that and get a lap time even better. For the second Degner, we go with Arabi into the hairpin now, with the EVR driver. Spoon curve now as we float through, and good on the exit as well, not running too wide. The 10.3 middle sector, which of course is a couple of attempts off of what Dan did earlier, so we could be seeing Rappy in potentially company with his teammate, and yes he is. 27.8 for Rappy there, as we got Lifeboat on his lap right now, and we got Ticho in behind, but stay on board with Lifeboat now as he comes through the Casio triangle to the line. He'll come, and it's gonna be a 26.4 from Lifeboat there. Fantastic lap from him. A 26.9 from Ticho as well. Big lap time there from Lifeboat. Right now, Typical is on the bubble, 27.8. Unfortunately, a Silo there goes even quicker than his teammate, and that is a 26.4 for Silo as well as Lifeboat. ET8 have come to play tonight and pick up some big points if they can translate this qualifying pace into race pace. That is for sure. Currently on board with the Bravo Racing Club's Predestinato though, coming out of the hairpin. A little bit of traffic up ahead of the Alpine, if I believe that is a Lifeboat now, getting out of the way. As we go through Spoon Curve now with Predestinato, yet to get a lap time on the board, same as Finley. Leora, unfortunately, out of the session early on, crashing out. Not ideal for him, but Predestinato 9.7 in the middle sector. Into the Casio triangle now. What can Predestinato do here as we come through now towards the line on the ERS? Opening up DRS now is going to be a 27.1 from Predestinato, and honestly, as Schumacher there, big improvement there with a 26.5. I said at the start of Q2 that I think the cutoff would be a 27.1. Obviously, we saw the opening lap times and that were coming in. I think I wasn't too far off with the 27.1. Maybe it'll be a bit quicker than that. But Caden now to the line for FRT. Caden now, what's he going to do? He's going to go up into P5. So I put Predestinato on the bubble with a 27.1. Have we got support in the chat for TF10 with the fire emojis? Right now is a ET8 1-2 with Silo and Lifeboat up there, but we got Ticho and Ortez right now both into Q3 as the times currently stand. But what will the lap time be for Finley when he does his lap? And can the likes of Predestinato, Rappy, Typical and David, can they improve on their lap time and put these guys like Reese, like Ticho, like Dan and Ortiz under pressure to go out again on another lap? Both ETA drivers are happy with their lap times, and they are deciding to see out the rest of qualifying. We got 2.5 minutes remaining here in Q2. Typical is just coming out on his out lap. Schumacher retires, and that is all it's going to be for him in Q2. But right now he's currently in P4, so it's a very good lap time from Schumacher there. Gonna be interesting. So Ortiz all the way down to Finley are gonna be in a shootout here. So I believe Caden is going to retire in the pit lane. Predestinato needs to get himself back out the pits ASAP. Otherwise, he is not going to get another lap in. And I think, yeah, Caden, he's happy with his lap. And there you see Predestinato trying to get out right now. David Clark also getting out. Well, we're going to see who is going to be topping the times here, as I believe it'll be typical, the first man to set a lap time to end off Q2. A minute and a half remaining on the lap timer. A minute and a half to get around. I think Predestinato might just about be okay. It's very late, but he'll just about be okay. But we're going to go on board with Typical now as he gets his final lap underway. He's outside of the top 10. He needs to find a minimum 7.5 attempts to get ahead of Predestinato, but to get himself securely into Q3, he needs to find about a second and a bit. Can Typical do it though? As we come through the S's now, climbing up through Dunlop curve on the ERS, really pushing and attacking this lap now is Typical. 4 attempts up, first sector split through the Degnas. He goes now in towards the hairpin. Very crucial to get good traction here on the exit, because it can really help gain a bit of time down towards Spoon curve, and then it's all about making sure you get the best run possible on the exit of Spoon curve, because that'll carry speed for you all the way down to the Casio triangle. As we got Typical looking to get the best exit possible. Gets a little bit onto the outside curbing, but let's see what the middle sector split is going to say for Typical. 9 attempts up. This is more like it from Typical. Right now he's on course to jump ahead of Predestinato and potentially get himself ahead of Reese as well in P9. Typical to the line as he doesn't have to get himself into Q3. He has, so right now he's currently in P6. But we got Rappy now to the line. He's 4 attempts up. Is not enough at the moment for Rappy. But as he found more time in the final sector, Rappy to the line. He can't get into it. What about TF10 as Ortiz and Ticho there? 26.3 for them. Reese is on the bubble. He's in the pit lane. He's done with his lap. Predestinato's like a 10th up on his first sector split. Half a second right now for David as Finley is out of the session, as well as Rappy. So let's see if David Clark can find any more time in the final sector. I think David Clark, too much there for him to do. But Predestinato, he's a 10th up. A good exit on the Casio triangle, and he could pit Reese, but that was a little bit messy, and it's not enough there for Predestinato. He unfortunately is out of qualifying here in P11. Where can you see the standings? We'll be going through the standings again at the end of qualifying, mate, don't you worry. But to end Q2, it is going to be Predestinato, Rappy, Finley, David Clark and Leroy knocked out, which means the top 10 shootout will be between Ticho and Ortiz for TF10, Silo and Lifeboat for ET8, Venom there for Shazoo Cedar Igniters, Schumacher for Evolution Racing, both FRT drivers in Caden and Dan getting through. And then of course we've got Typical and Reese getting through to the top 10 shootout as well. Of course, Reese representing All Elite Racing Team and Typical representing Legacy Racing. So the top 10 shootout is now here. 12 minutes to go. ET8 or TF10? This is where it's going to be very interesting here, because of course Both teams have shown great pace in qualifying thus far, but who's going to be picking up that qualifying prize, the pole position point? Will it be TF10? Will it be ET8? Will Venom come out and take that pole position point? Will it be one of the FRT drivers? Can the likes of Typical, Schumacher, Reese get themselves into the conversation as well for that pole position point? Guys, let me know your predictions right now in the chat. We have 11 minutes to go here in Q3. Caden is the first man out there on a lap. And we'll see what will happen here, as I believe Caden may possibly be out on a scrub set of soft tires. I unfortunately hit the wrong button there, and I accidentally hit the UI. But yeah, Caden on a set of the soft tires. Of course, everyone will be on the set of the softs, but it'll be interesting to see if they've saved a fresh set of softs for the final runs. I'd imagine a lot of drivers potentially intentionally tried to make sure that they got at least one fresh set for the last laps here in Q3. Let's see what Caden can do here, as he's going to be the first man to set a lap time here in Q3. Running down in towards turn number 1. All about eyeing himself up for turn number 2. The braking and getting the turning in right there. Now through the S's, all about momentum, carrying the speed through the corners, trying to not get too much onto the curbs because they can be lethal. Up through Dunlop curve, flat out as we come to the first sector split. 31.7 first sector split for Caden as we come out of the second deck. Now a little bit squirrely on the rear end there for Caden, and again under braking into the hairpin. Back end wanting to step out on FRT Caden right here, but he is keeping it in check right now. But you'll know that that is small bits of time that he can gain later on in the session. Through Spoon curve now, where it's all about getting a good run on the exit, and it looks like Caden has done a very good job there in getting that run. Middle sector split, it's a 10.2, so it looks like it's definitely a scrub set of tyres on that Aston Martin there for Caden, as we come through the Casio triangle to the line, and it's going to be a 27.5 to get us underway here. As Typical on a lap as well. Dan just starting his lap. 9.8 for FRT Typical, who of course is driving for Legacy Racing here. Here comes Typical now to the line, and it's going to be a 26.9. Nice and early, and that is Ticho there. We just jumped on board with Ticho, as he has definitely just clipped the inside curve at Dunlop curve, and that is his lap over and done with immediately. Heartbreak for him. He does have Dan coming up behind him on a quick lap, so he gets out of the way of that. His teammate though, Ortiz, is coming through the middle sector split. 9.2 middle sector split. This is looking rapid now for the TF10 man. As you got Silo, I believe that is just crossing the line. Sorry, that is Lifeboat crossing the line to start his lap. So here comes Ortiz. 26.1 for the TF10 driver, the quickest lap that we've seen so far in qualifying. Big lap time right there from Ortiz. Absolutely monstrous lap time there for Ortiz. 26.1. Wrong board with Silo. Silo right now, 9.1 in the middle sector. It's looking like it's going to be close between Ortiz and Silo here as we come through the Casio triangle on the exit. Are we going to see a 25? No, it's a 26.2 for Silo. Exactly 1/10 behind. As Venom actually there, he done a 26.1, but it was invalidated. And there goes Lifeboat there, invalidating at the Casio triangle as well. But he'll make sure that he gets the delta on the board, 26.3. Very, very, very interesting as we're going to go through the remainder of this qualifying session. Venom looks like he can maybe get in and amongst it. 26.1 invalidated lap for him. Lifeboat 26.3 invalidated lap for him. Obviously Ticho, we saw what happened there. We just jumped on board with him as he lost the car coming through the Dunlop curve. Unfortunately just clipping the inside curve a bit too much, the back end losing out. But we see Ortiz 26.1 on the board. Silo 26.2 on the board. Schumacher with a 26.6. Then we got Typical on a 26.9. And then we got Dan on a 27 flat. Same with Reese and a 27.5 from Caden there. So big lap times coming in nice and early from Ortiz and Silo here in Q3, and it looks like it's definitely going to be a bit of a freeway fight, I think, because TF10 and ET8 have been topping the times here in qualifying altogether, but Venom, that invalidated lap time that we saw shows that he is well and truly capable of getting pole position here as well for Suzuka Igniters. And of course, as the championship leaders, they have a 25-point lead over ET8 in second place. So an extra point for Shizu just it just makes the job of ET8 and the likes of TF10, EVR, and the rest of the grid. It just makes their jobs more difficult in terms of closing that gap and catching them down. We have 3.5 minutes remaining in the session, guys. In the chat right now, let me know your predictions. Who do you think is going to get pole position here in Suzuka? And do you think that we could possibly see a 25 here? Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Is it a 25.9 on the cards? Is it a 26 flat on the cards? Let me know in the chat, guys. Let me know. As now we have the calm before the storm. 2.5 minutes remaining in the session, and we'll have our first cars out on track. It looks like both ETA drivers are coming out. Looks like we're going to have Typical out. Of course, Typical will be the first man on a lap. But right now, if I'm going to go on board with anyone for their final lap, I think I got to go on board with this man right here. It's currently P2. He's on the front row for ET8. He picked up the race win in Australia. Of course, with Ryzen's disqualification from round 1 and round 2, he picks up the race win in Australia. And now we're going to see if he's going to be picking up pole position here in Suzuka. course, Silo has his teammate in Lifeboat directly behind him as well, so it's going to be interesting. I believe the next man in behind is going to be, Ticho is going to be the next man in behind. But we'll stay on board with Silo for this lap. Are we going to see a special lap here from the ET8 driver as we come down the start-finish straight to begin the final laps here in Q3 for the Japanese Grand Prix in the CTC Console Championship? Silo getting through turns 1 and 2, no issues right there as we come through the S's, attacking the curbs on the inside, carrying the momentum through as we head towards Dunlop curve flat out there, using the ERS on the exit as well, as he looks to try and extract absolutely everything he can out of it. And he's over a 10th up in sector 1 as we come through the second deck now underneath the bridge as we head towards the hairpin. It looks like Silo is on an absolutely stormer of a lap there. Big rear end lockup as the back end steps out on him, but he gets the car rotated through the hairpin and now runs towards Spoon curve. Throwing the car through, dropping it down for 4th gear on the exit Spoon. The checker flag has fallen. And now we're going to see if Silo is going to be topping the times here in qualifying. He's still a 10th and a half up. This will be enough to displace Ortiz at the top, but coming through the Casio triangle is where you can lose time and it's where you can gain time. But Silo to the line. What's this going to be for the ET8 man? It's at 26.1. He gets ahead of Ortiz. Meanwhile, we got Lifeboat there up in the P2. Ticho up in the P4. But what about Ortiz? Ortiz marginally up. He's half a 10th up in the middle sector, which will be enough to get him ahead of Lifeboat here if he can hold on to it. Big lock up there as we come through the Casio triangle. But let's see, has Ortiz got enough to snag pole position? No, he does not. It looks like pole position may go the way of ET8 here. A Schumacher there, big improvement for him, a 26.3, gets himself up in the P5. But Silo for ET8 takes home that pole position point by 16 thousandths of a second ahead of TF10's Ortiz, who will join him on the front row. Lifeboat there in P3, less than half a tenth off of Silo, off his teammate. Then we got Venom, 83 thousandths of a second off of pole in P4. Schumacher just under 2 tenths off in P5. Then we got Typical in P6. Ticho there in P7. Caden in P8 ahead of his teammate Dan in P9. And then we got Reese wrapping up that final spot inside the top 10 right there. Wow. What a qualifying session that was. Silo taking that pole position point. And guys, let's quickly have another look at the championship standings. Of course, we did have someone ask in the chat. Of course, Shazoo coming in tonight with a 25-point lead ahead of ET8. Well, that gap has just been knocked down to 24. Evolution Racing there in P3, and they're on 33 points. 28 points for Future Racing Team in P4. TF10 in P5 with 23 points. 16 points for Alien Motorsport in 6th. 7th place is Legacy Racing on 14 points. Then we have 11 points apiece for both All Elite Racing Team and Bravo Racing Club in 8th and 9th place respectively. And then 10 points for Azuri Esports there in P10. And a quick reminder of the points as well before we get into the action. 22 points for the race win, 18 points for second, 15 points for third, 12 points for fourth, 11 points for fifth, and it goes down in increments of 1 all the way down to P15 where you pick up 1 singular point. There's a point for fastest lap as well as the point for pole position, which went the way of ET8 here tonight with Silo. And that is how things are looking here as we are eagerly awaiting what should be a fantastic start to the race. Of course, again, looking at the track, the only figure-8 circuit on the calendar, 5.8 kilometers, 3.6 miles in length, one DRS zone on the start finish straight. Lots of corners where you can lose the car, so everyone's going to have to be very careful, especially when the tires begin to wear and you start to lose grip. Strategy around here is going to be a one start. It's going to be either hards to mediums or mediums to hards. I don't see anyone opting for the soft compound tire, so we'll have to see how that unfolds. But yeah, now guys, we have 27 laps of the Japanese Grand Prix of the Suzuka International Circuit. Who are you pulling for to take the win here in Japan? Is it going to be a TF10 victory? Is it going to be an ET8 victory? Is it going to be a Suzuka Igniters victory? Or is it going to be a team outside of those three? Let me know your predictions. Can All Elite Racing Team get a victory? Can FRT get a racing victory here tonight? We will find out in due course, as I believe we are just getting ready for the go-ahead. So we'll transition over to the track as everyone is making sure that they got their race strategies all sorted. We do not want to miss the start, the 5 red lights. So we will be here eagerly awaiting it. As Tech in the chat saying, go Silo, go. Well, he did. He went straight on to pole position with a fantastic lap time, picking up a point for ET8. But can qualifying pace be transferred over to the race pace? That is going to be the big question. That is the question on everyone's minds right now. As Matt in the chat says, Rev Rob will win. Well, I mean, he's coming down from way towards the back of the grid. There's a lot of cars to overtake, and around the track where it's very difficult to overtake as well. Opportunities are going to be few and far in between. If he is going to start on the set of the softs, then he is going to definitely get a good first couple of laps, but those soft tires, they will wear quickly and he will begin to fall away. So it's going to be interesting. Strategy is going to be interesting around here. Like I said, I do predict it's either going to be a hard to medium or medium hard strategy here. I don't see the soft tires really coming into play unless you are like Rev Rob, and trying to carve your way through from the back of the field. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I will say as well, a safety car can change absolutely everything in this race. But it doesn't matter now because we are going to those 5 red lights to get underway here in Japan. The lights are out and we are underway, and it's a good start there from both of the ET8 drivers, but it looks like Ortiz has done enough to hold himself ahead of Lifeboat there as we get everything up that we need to. Side-by-side action going on in the midfield as we got Ticho, Caden and Typical there battling it out in the tail, in the mid top 10 pack, as we got Predestinato and Finley side-by-side as we come up through Dunlop curve here on lap 1. Finley all the way around the outside and gets the job done. Good start there from Finley to get up ahead of Predestinato. It looks like Predestinato has had a bit of a stinker of a start, and that is Caden getting all out of shape up ahead as it's 2x2 like Noah's Ark now, going through the hairpin. Bit of front wing flying off, and I believe that might be off of David Clark right there. And yes, he is. He's missing an end plate. David Clark there, missing an end plate. Heartbreak for him, but it looks like Predestinato has just gone absolutely wide of the mark there. Is he missing an end plate as well? No end plates there missing for Predestinato, which is unusual why he would go so far wide. The top 9 on the set, the medium compound tires, but we're seeing Caden now dropping dangerously close to being out of DRS range of Typical ahead, and this could be very important come the next lap because we could start to see the train be split almost immediately. Meanwhile, we got David Clark right now. Bit of contact with Finley and Clark there coming through turn 1, and look at that from Leora down the inside of Predestinato. Job done for the LR man as he climbs up into P14. Of course, David Clark there with that wing damage. It's definitely going to be hindered here in Sector 1, especially with the dirty air as well on top of that. It's going to be using a bit of the battery to try and keep within touching distance. You see the race strategy there. Of course, it's saying it's a 2-stop race. I highly doubt that. We got Reese on the back of Caden here for P8, and now Caden outside that 1 second window of Typical up ahead, and Typical looks to be getting further and further away, and that's not going to help Caden right there, getting wide on the exit of Spoon, and that's allowed Reese through, and now the split in the pack has happened. The top 7 are now well and truly going to be running away from the rest of the field as Reese with no DRS is going to be hindered now. As we got David Clark falling down the order as Rev Rob there. Unfortunately, didn't go with your strategy there, Matt. He's opted for a set of the hard compound tyres, and he's looking for the long road through. But there goes Caden now through on Reese up into P8 in this race. 1.8 off the back of Typical now, who is the rear of this top 7 train. Well, it's a good start from Silo, holding on to the race lead. Ortiz being able to consolidate P2 off the start as well. It looked like Lifeboat had a very good launch off the start, and Ortiz immediately covered him off, making sure that Lifeboat could not make it an ET8 1-2 here. Venom doing a good job right now, currently in P4, Schumacher in P5, Tito in P6. Typical there on the back of him in P7, holding on. Then we got a 1.5 second gap back to Caden in P8, who has Reese on the back of him for company. Dan, the lead runner of the hard compound tyres, in P10. And I believe we just had the switcheroo from the Alien Motorsports drivers to allow Prowess to go on the mediums. And now we have another gap in the field, as it looks like Finley has lost out off the back of Rappy, and that means Finley is going to be under pressure soon, as Leoira is going to be able to just close in and just gain free lap time. Looks like Finley out of VRS as well early on lap 4. Hopefully not an issue with his ERS being stuck open, because that would be heartbreaking if that was the case. Of course, Finley, we know what he's capable of. He's capable of some very good results here, and he's definitely a driver to keep an eye on. But if he does have an issue like his ERS being stuck open, then it's going to be very difficult for the Shazoo Cedar Igniters driver to get himself up the order. Speaking of Shazoo Cedar Igniters, Venom closing up to the back of Lifeboat here. And they're both fairly equal on ERS as well. So it's going to be very interesting as we exit Spoon here. The run looks like it's going the way of Venom, as Venom is using a bit of that battery. He's going to try to maybe look at a potential move down the inside or around the outside of the Casio triangle. Lifeboat there goes defensively in the middle of the track there, making sure that there's no easy overtake there for Venom, as Ortiz gets a little bit out of shape, loses out to Silo a bit there, and is almost under a bit of pressure from Lifeboat as Venom closing in again on Lifeboat, but not able to make the move. Meanwhile, Reese gets ahead of Caden there as Finley and Leora trade positions also. Everything now starting to bunch up inside the top 4. Looks like Venom's setup looks to be a little bit more tailored to straight line speed. Ortiz and Silo though. Currently your top 2. Lifeboat there. Currently your P3 under pressure from Venom. As we've got a yellow flag in the back, and that is Powers. Powers has lost out massively there. He's had a bit of an off. He's lost an end plate as well. Same as David Clark. Not ideal for him as ART David also a second off the back of Rev Rob here, who I think is also missing an end plate. Yes, he is. Rev Rob missing an end plate as well. So the back 4 really struggling out there. End plates are gone on 3 of the cars, and it looks like David is definitely struggling. Ortiz though closing onto the back of Silo, underbreaking in towards the Acacio triangle, but he's not going to be close enough to go for the overtake. Venom, he's getting close, but he's not close enough for Lifeboat here. The top 7 stay as they are. Top 7 holding station for the time being. Lap 6 of 27. Silo leads the way ahead of Ortiz in second place. Lifeboat there in third. Venom in fourth. Schumacher fifth. Ticho in sixth. And then we got Typical in 7th. Reese and Caden are closing in marginally on Typical. So the gap was 1.5. It's now down to 1.2, 1.3. So Reese and Caden are... There's a bit of an alliance going on, I think, where they're not really going to threaten each other. They're just going to try and focus on trying to close that gap and get back within DRS range. As it looks like Reese might be doing everything he can to try and pull away from Caden, but also get himself within the 1 second. But you can see overusing the ERS, and that is David around on the exit. A spoon. Moments after picking up a 3-second time penalty as well, and this should be an easy overtake here potentially for Caden if he wants to use that ERS, which he does not. He wants to save up the battery, which I do not blame him. Powers there with a 3-second time penalty as well. Having an absolutely torrid time down towards the back, as it looks like Finley is dropping down the order. As we got a request for the gap to the leader. Oh, that is Rev Rob just going off into the gravel right there. Not ideal there for Rev Rob. Of course, Matteo asking gap of the leader so he can see where his drivers will be filtering out and drop, because it will be the same for absolutely every team so far. So that includes Ortiz as well as Shazoo and everything as well. I will show the gap to the leaders. And there we go. There is your gap to the leader, currently on lap 7 of 27. Okay, then closing in on Reese, but is he going to go for the move? He's stuck his nose in down the inside. Caden on the inside through turn 2, and it's going to be job done, I think, for Caden. Yep, Reese going to back up before the S's start there. Dan holding on to the back of it as well. Remember, Dan on the set of the hard compound tyres. At this stage, I think the hards and the mediums are around similar pace. Maybe a slight edge to the hard compound tyres. But I think they are not too different in terms of the pace right now. Which is going to be interesting because now we have the FRT driver is going to be double teaming Riksha for P9 and P8 in this race. As that is yellow flags deployed. As I believe that is Finley has had a bit of an off. And that has brought out a virtual safety car, I think. Will we see any of the leaders come into the pit lane under VSC? It's going to be interesting. Does Silo come in? No, Silo doesn't. Ortiz does though. Lifeboat is in. Venom's in. Schumacher's in. Tito's in. Typical in. So they will get a slightly quicker pit stop here under virtual safety car conditions. Silo stays out, and of course he's the only driver that did stay out of that top lot. The virtual safety car is still ongoing. There is no safety car out on track. There is DRS enabled once again as we are back to green flag conditions, as Ticho and Typical battling on the exit of turn 2 through the S's, and it looks like Tito's going to hold on to that. But we are seeing a few gaps now form with the top lot as Ortiz, Lifeboat and Venom have dropped the likes of Schumacher, Ticho and Typical here. And it looks like Typical has been caught by Caden and Reese as well. So Caden and Reese are now in this battle with the likes of Ticho and Typical here. Schumacher in a bit of no man's land. Currently in P9, 1.6 off the back of Venom, but 2.3 ahead of Ticho. As the fresher hard tyres will allow the likes of Ortiz and Lifeboat to close up to Predestinato, who right now is battling Leoira on track for position as he goes down the inside with DRS. Job done for Predestinato. And it looks like in behind as well, Typical getting the move done on Ticho there. The TF10 driver overtaken by the Legacy Racing driver in Typical, and now he has FRT Caden on the back of him. And Ortiz doing a fantastic job of breaking that 1 second window to Lifeboat here, and if he can hold that 1 second gap to Lifeboat, it's going to be very interesting to see what will happen between Venom and Lifeboat. But it looks like Ortiz now coming up to a bit of traffic up ahead. So Ortiz, Lifeboat, Venom now have the likes of Leoira and Predestinato to try and navigate their way through. They do have the fresher tyres, but how aggressive are they going to be in terms of trying to get the job done on these guys up ahead? As Predestinato sitting pretty right now on his ERS. But Leroy not going to back off without a fight. He's going to use a bit of his battery to try and close in, but he's not going to be close enough. Lifeboat. Oh, look at this now. Look at the grip difference between Ortiz and Leroy there on the exit of turn 2. And this is where Ortiz needs to try and carve his way through as quickly as possible, because these guys will come into the pits at some point. And when they do come into the pits, they will be... of course, they're just going to be moving chicanes to the likes of Ortiz, Lifeboat and Venom. And that's going to allow the likes of Schumacher, Typical, Ticho to close back up to him. The longer these guys are stuck behind the likes of Predestinato and Leoira here. Let's see now, Ortiz, does he have the grip to get the run out of Spoon Curve? Yes, he's got the grip. He's got the slipstream. And it looks like he's going to move to the inside for 130R. Side-by-side action. Here comes Ortiz. Up into P5. Will go the TF10 man. And now he's on the back of Predestinato. And this is big for Ortiz because now he can try and get through Leoira with a 3-second time penalty. And he's dropped down behind the likes of Lifeboat and Venom immediately. So that's not what Ortiz wants. Ortiz was hoping that it would take him a little bit longer to get past Leoira. But it doesn't. They get through immediately. And now Ortiz ahead of Predestinato. And Predestinato is now the mobile chicane for Lifeboat and Venom to try and negotiate. They need to get through ASAP if they want to stay onto the back of Ortiz here. Because you're seeing that gap right now. It's already 9/10 of a second. 9.5 of a second. And Ortiz is getting away from Lifeboat and Venom here. The gap is over a second. Lifeboat still stuck behind Predestinato. No overtaking maneuvers available for him. And it looks like Venom. I thought I heard something in the background then. Venom has gone off. And he's in the gravel. So the Suzuki Cedar Igniters driver now drops down behind Schumacher. And he's just ahead of Typical now. This is big for not only ET8 but also for TF10 in hopes of closing down the gap between themselves and of course Shazoo Cedar Ignite as we got Silo into the pit lane. Now this is going to be interesting. Silo stayed out under the virtual safety car. He did not come into the pits with everyone else. He is going to lose out a bit, I'm going to say, but he will have the fresher tyres towards the end. And look at this. Lifeboat now getting through on Predestinato, but 1.6 is the gap between himself and Ortiz. 1.5 the gap between himself and Ortiz as Silo will come out down in 13th place. We are expecting more pit stops to come through though with Dan, Rappi and of course Predestinato and Leoira still yet to make their pit stops. So that will promote Silo up to a net P9. As it currently stands. But Silo now, did he make a mistake by not pitting under virtual safety car? Time will tell as Leoira and Predestinato are throwing spanners in the works here with this train because Schumacher, Venom, Typical, Ticho and Caden and Reese all in this train of Predestinato and Leoira, and we're going to see the gap between Reese and Silo come down as well with that. Also as Ortiz gets the job done on Rappies very quickly there. That might not be too good for Ortiz because it will be DRS for Rappies to maybe get back past him. But also it's DRS for Lifeboat as well. But it looks like the gap is there. As look at that, Lifeboat really pushing the ERS and Rappi kind of just moving out of the way. Not really wanting to fight with these guys. Hoping to just maybe get towed along a little bit. As now Predestinato and Leoira overtaken by both Venom and Schumacher who have been released now from this train. And Ticho, Typical, Caden and Reese are now the next guys up to try and get through on Leoira and Predestinato here. But Rappi, I think, has done enough of a job on Ortiz that has allowed Lifeboat to close back up within a second. So Lifeboat now back within the 1 second window of Ortiz here. And that's exactly where he wants to be able to take the fight to Ortiz for the race win. Both of them Very similar in terms of the ERS. Rappy with 65%. He's got a decent amount of ERS to his name, as Schumacher and Venom are trying to get themselves up the order, as Leora getting overtaken by Ticho, by his teammate Typical, and Caden now side by side as we run down in towards 130R. On the inside is Caden, and it's going to be job done for the FRT man. Up into P10 he'll go. 1.7 the gap now between Reese and Silo. 1.5 now, so Silo really close in. Lap 15 of 27. As look at that, oh, Schumacher left through by his teammate Rabbies. Rabbies tried to battle with Venom, but Venom made sure he got through as well. As we close onto that quite late, little bit of contact between Venom and Rappy there, but a little bit of teamwork from Schumacher and Rappy to try and hold up Venom and last Schumacher through, but Venom was having absolutely none of it. He decided to follow Schumacher through almost immediately, and a little bit of contact between Rappy and Venom on the exit of turn 2. But Venom still on the back of Schumacher. This is the battle for the net podium position right now, as we still await Dan to come into the pit lane. And now Rappy has Ticho in behind, looking to try and get through on him. Predestinado holding up the likes of Typical, Reese, Leroy, Caden, and now Silo in this battle. The ET8 man, the pole sitter, who was the race leader. He decided to stay out when everyone else pitted under the virtual safety car. And that has allowed himself to fall down the order as Ticho now up into P6. I think he might have taken the exit there as Rappy into the pit lane, almost colliding with the pit entry wall. As Typical will get through, as so will Reese. As look at that, Silo through on Caden as well. Silo now up into P10. Or net P8. Silo really trying to carve his way through the field. He's got a lot of cars to overtake. He's got 2 cars that we're expecting to see in the pit lane very soon in Predestinado, who's the car directly in front of him. And Dan, who is the race leader currently. But for how much longer? I don't think it's going to be much longer. Dan opting for the hard medium strategy at this current time, but he does have Ortiz and Lifeboat closing him down. Predestinado looks to be a little bit lacking in terms of the grip right now. 15 laps on those hard tires absolutely will do that to you, but look at the grip that Silo has. He just cruises up alongside of him and gets through. Silo now up into P9, and he can try to begin his charge on the likes of Reese, Typical, and Ticho up ahead before he can get back into that top 5 fight, as Dan is now in to the pit lane. Predestinado, I'm expecting to come into the pit lane as well. Will he dive it in? Yes, he will, and that will release Caden, Leroy also into the pit lane, so that will release Caden in the background. And now everyone has made their pit stops. We have our order right now. Lap 17 of 27. It is TF10's Ortiz leading the way, with ET8's Lifeboat there in second place. EVR's Schumacher there in P3, with Shazoo's Venom there charging after him in P4. Ticho for TF10 in P5, with Typical for LR in P6. Then we got All Elite Racing Teams, Reese in P7, with ET8's Silo in P8. And then, of course, we got Caden for FRT in P9, and Dan in P10 also for FRT on a fresh set of mediums. As David there picking up a 3-second time penalty, not good for him. The battle right now is beginning to brew. The battle for P5. Ticho, Typical, Reese, Silo It's going to be very interesting if Silo can get himself through these 3 cars as quickly as possible. We could be seeing a very interesting end to the race, because Silo will have the grip advantage on the top 4. Will be a case of whether or not he's going to be able to close in quick enough. As there goes Venom on Schumacher with DRS. Job done for Venom up into the final podium position for Shazoo. We got a question. What happened to Shazoo? Venom dropped down the order a bit after making contact. We heard a bit of contact in the background, and he dropped away from the guys towards the front and dropped away slightly. He was on the back, the likes of Lifebout and Ortiz, but he made he definitely hit something. We did hear audible contact made in the background as Rev Rob retires in the pit lane. So Venom dropped back into the clutches of Schumacher, and of course they were held up in the train with the likes of Leroyra and Predestinato. Finley has just had an absolute horrid time so far in Suzuka. It's just not been a great day for Finley, so that is what has happened to Shazoo here thus far. Meanwhile, Silo closing in on Reese, potentially could be eyeing up a move down the start finish straight in towards turn number 1. As I believe that is David has had a bit of an off. And there we go, there comes Silo through on Reese potentially as we come down into turn number 1. Silo up in the P8. He's on the fresher hard tyres. This is what he needs to do. Use the grip advantage he has and try to get through it. He's already putting the pressure on Typical for P6. Can he find a way through on the LR driver here? Potentially we could be seeing an overtake occur in towards the hairpin from Silo. But he's not close enough to have a look this time around. But he may look for the better exit. And he has got the better exit. He's on the ERS. And he will be trying his best to pull alongside into a spoon curve. Typical defends the inside. Silo to the outside. And it's going to be a clean sweep around the outside for Silo. Typical goes off. And that's a 3-second time penalty for Typical. And that's allowed Reese through as well. Up into P7. Silo absolutely charging his way through the field now. Up into P6 on the fresher tyres. But will Ticho be as high as he's going to get? Can he close in on the top 4? That will be the question. As I believe he will have the grip and the pace to get past Ticho. But will he have the pace and the grip and the time? Remember, we're on lap 20 or 27. Will he have the time to get himself back into a podium potential conversation there, as we see Typical getting back through on Reese with DRS. Nice overtake there for Reese. Meanwhile, Dan on those mediums, he's closed the gap down by 5 seconds since pitting onto those mediums to his teammate Caden. Dan potentially could get himself in this particular fight for the top 7 come the end of the race, especially if Typical and Reese begin to battle it out, which they are doing. Silo on the back of Ticho now. And then there's a 4.2 second gap to the battle for the final spot on the podium between Venom and Schumacher. Back up towards the front though. We do have, actually we're going to go back right now because it looks like Silo is closing in on a move on Ticho here. Oh, big lock up, a little bit of contact there between Silo and Ticho and the braking. But a change for the race leader is happening. Lifeboat there around the outside of Ortiz. Ortiz going to hang him out to dry around the outside. and Lifeboat has to settle in for P2. That is of course going to take our attention away from Silo, who's now up to P5, 5 seconds off the back of Schumacher. Now we're going to see what Silo has in offer here, because I think he is going to pull away from Ticho. It's going to be a case of, can he catch Schumacher and Venom? This will be a big point haul for ET8 if they can get a double ET8 podium here. But we also saw right there the first little dance between Ortiz and Lifeboat there in towards turn number 1. And it was Ortiz that came out on top of Lifeboat. So TF10 still holding on to the race win at this moment in time. But Lifeboat starting to pressurize and starting to ask questions of Ortiz. As we're about to come on to lap 22 of 27. Lifeboat was closing in, but he got onto that outside curbing, and that's really going to hinder him now. As we see Schumacher on the back of Venom here, and this should be potentially an overtake for P3, but no, Schumacher not really wanting to go for it. Looking to save up the battery. Silo has brought the gap down by a second. And he's towing Ticho along. Ticho is being towed along for the ride here with Silo, who is doing everything he can to close in on that podium battle. Meanwhile, typical, unfortunately for him with that 3-second time penalty, he's in a bit of a situation right now, because he has Reset ahead of him, who he is battling with out on track. But in fact, he has a big snap on the exit of the second Degner. And now he's lost touch with Reese, which is not good for him. That's going to relieve the pressure for Reese. But now it's going to be an issue of Typical is going to get teamed up on by both FRT drivers, because Caden, also with 3 seconds to his name, he can be brought onto the back of Typical by his teammate Dan, who is on the medium tyres and in DRS range of his teammate now. And I think we'll get the order. The switcheroo will happen between Dan and Caden down the start finish straight, that's for sure. And then we'll see what's going to happen with Typical and Caden. Back up towards the front. Schumacher, half a second off the back of Venom. Not pushing it. Lifeboat not asking questions this lap. Silo brings the gap down to 3 seconds. He's dropped Ticho now out of DRS range. 3.2 the gap. Can Silo get himself a podium? Remember, he stayed out. Everyone else came into the pit under the virtual safety car. Silo stayed out. He pitted 4 laps later. And on the fresher tyres, he definitely has the grip advantage. And being the pole sitter, you'd think he also has the pace advantage as well. But it's a case of, does he have enough laps available to him? And if these two at the front, if they start battling, will that bring Venom and Schumacher into conversation? The gap 3.8. Looks like neither Ortiz or Lifeboat really looking to ask questions of each other at this stage in the race. Venom and Schumacher also not really looking to ask questions of themselves at this stage in the race. They know the looming threat that is ET8 Silo closing in on them on fresher tyres. And he is giving absolutely everything he can for that final podium position to make it an ET8 double podium as it currently stands. Lap 24 of 27. Ortiz for TF10 leads the way ahead of Lifeboat for ET8 in second place. Shazoo's Venom holding on to that final podium position just ahead of Schumacher there in P4 for Evolution Racing. ET8 Silo doing everything he can to close in. He has the grip to close in the first sector, but it's going to be a case of if he can close in enough everywhere else. Ticho holding on to a solid P6 right now for TF10. He's in a bit of no man's land ahead of Reese, who is also in a little bit of no man's land. But Dan now has been released. He's got ahead of Caden and Typical, and Dan is now charging after Reese. And Dan, late into this race, is going to be asking questions. As Mateo asking to show Ortiz his ERS. I did also show Ortiz his ERS as I was going through the field. You just gotta have a gander, mate. You just gotta have a gander. Schumacher looks like he's absolutely depleted his ERS and attempts to keep up with Venom here. Obviously, Lifeboat using a bit of his battery. Ortiz on his battery. About 10% between them. Venom right now, if he can get a good sector one, he can maybe get away from Schumacher here, but lap 25 or 27. Silo still closing in on these guys, and he looks like he may potentially, with a good lap here, possibly get himself within DRS range by the end of this lap. So we're going to see if Silo is going to be taking that final podium position. Oh, Venom goes wide out of the deck, no one, and that's allowed Schumacher to be on the inside, and now Silo is there. Ladies and gentlemen, the final podium position is now absolutely anyone's grabs right here. Schumacher getting out of shape, and that's going to allow Silo a better run on the exit at the hairpin. And now Silo with the inside for Spoon Curve. Venom, a big mistake there as Schumacher goes off. That's a 3-second time penalty for him. Wow. As there goes the switcheroo. I think Silo letting Schumacher back through. Not happy with that overtake. Feels that he may have forced off Schumacher there a bit. So he's letting back through. Good sportsmanship there from Silo as he'll look to get this move done proper now on the track with DRS, with the ERS. And there we go. Silo will go through up into P4 with a clear charge now to Venom for that final podium position. Lifeboat and Ortiz. %5 between them in terms of the ERS. There's not much between them. Not much at all. Penultimate lap of the race. It looks like it is going to be between those two for the race win. And it's going to be between Venom and Silo for the final podium position. And Venom really has put himself on the back foot here, because even though Silo was going to be within DRS range at the end of lap 25, he wasn't going to be on the back of Venom right here halfway through lap 26. But that mistake from Venom put himself under pressure from Schumacher, puts them both under pressure from Silo, and now the podium is under threat for Shazoo. And of course, Dan on his mediums has gotten through on Brees and is now trying to charge after Ticho for P6 in this race. In fact, he might even get P5 if he overtakes Ticho. Ticho can get the jump on Schumacher. But we're on to the final lap of the race right now. Ortiz using his ERS. So is Lifeboat. They are both almost absolutely depleted here. But Ortiz holding on to the race lead. Venom is going to be under pressure here. Around the outside goes Silo on the fresher tyres. Silo gets the job done up into the podium position, but it is not over yet. Silo will have to defend later into this lap unless he can pull a monstrous gap here in the first sector, and it looks like he is doing so as Schumacher really applying the pressure onto Venom. And look at that, Ortiz is now outside the 1 second window on Lifeboat. It looks like Lifeboat has tried everything he can, but in the end Ortiz just had the pace on him. Only a 3-second time penalty or a mistake from Ortiz can bring him back under threat from Lifeboat. And Silo there looks like he's going to be joining his teammate on the podium, where Silo would have been if he came into the pits under the VSC with everyone else no one really knows, but Venom under pressure from Schumacher, as you got Ticho and Dan closing on each other as well. But we're going to go back on board with Ortiz, who is coming through the Casio triangle for the final time here tonight. And it will be TF10 on the top step of the podium. Ortiz takes victory here in Japan with a double ET8 podium as Lifeboat crosses the line in second place ahead of Silo in third. Venom there in fourth. Schumacher will drop down the order as Ticho gets positioned fifth. Dan in sixth. Schumacher will come through in seventh. Reese in eighth. Typical ahead of Caden in ninth and 10th. And then we got Predestinado and Rabi coming through now. Predestinado will come through in P11. P12 for Rabi. Leroy in P13. Powers, a horrible race for Alien Motorsports, but he is going to salvage a couple of points for them. Coming through in 14th place. Finley for Shazoo. It's been an absolute horrid time for Finley as well here tonight, but he is going to pick up the final point paying position in 15th place, and that could be absolutely everything come the end of the season. You never know, so every point does count. Here comes David Clark to take P16 and to end the race here in Suzuka. But it is TF10's Ortiz who does take the top step of the podium. He's going to be flanked either side by both ETA drivers who will be very happy with the result that does for them in terms of the team. Big points gained for the pair of them. The race winner, obviously Ortiz, fastest lap goes to Finley for Shazoo, so they'll be happy with that. Another point for them. Driver of the day goes to Dan, as voted by the in-game fans. Most overtakes goes to Leroy, and cleanest driver to Venom. But we'll run you through the order one more time. It is, of course, Ortiz that takes the race winner ahead of Lifeboat in second place. Silo there in P3 with Venom in P4. Ticho in P5 with Dan in P6. Schumacher in 7th with Reese in 8th. Typical in 9th and Caden rounding out the top 10. Outside the top 10, we have Predestinado in 11th. Rappy in 12th. Leroy in 13th. Powers in 14th. 15th for the fastest lap is Finley, taking 2 points for Shazoo. Then our non-points finishers were David Clark and David. And then our only non-finisher was Rev Rob for Alien Motorsport. Wow, wow, wow. What a exciting end to that race right there. Obviously, a big battle for the final spot on the podium with Silo, Venom and Schumacher. They're getting very, very close with each other. Of course, Venom making that big mistake coming through the first Deckner. And that, of course, put him onto the gravel under pressure then from Schumacher. And it just allowed Silo to just quickly get past one and then go for the other. I think if Venom does not make that mistake, it's a little bit more difficult for Silo to get that podium position. But the question will be, will Schumacher get his 3-second time penalty? Will he put in to get that removed? That'll be a question that we may see happen. If that does happen, he will come through and pick up a P5 finish. So a few extra points if that does happen. Now, of course, normally we would talk about what is next on the calendar. But as you can see, we don't know what race is coming next for round number 4. I do believe that we will find out at some point in the next couple of days what track we'll be going to next. So for right now, we don't know, but we will be finding out, that is for sure. And of course, a bad result for Shazoo in terms of the championships. ET8 with a double podium right there. And obviously TF10 with a big race win. Will definitely climb them up the order somewhat. Alien Motorsport is not going to be a good day for them. They're probably going to drop behind not only Legacy Racing but also all elite racing team as well. As I believe they may have done enough to stay ahead of Bravo Racing Club and Azuri Esports, but yeah, not a great day for ADM Motorsports. You'll see them fall down the order, that is for sure. But guys, before we wrap things up here tonight, once again, we are going to do a massive thank you and shout out to our sponsors here at CTC. Of course, to Pivot Media, the marketing agency offering graphic and video designers to elevate your brand and business. Check out their X in the description down below. And of course, to Virtual Setup Engineer is the brand new setup shop for all your setup needs. They offer setups for every track, plus a custom chat box so you can customize the setup to your driving style. And of course, to our other sponsor, of course, at Gridfinder as well. Guys, that is the end of round number 3 here in the console championship for CTC. I have been Michael Edwards, and we'll catch you next week for round number 4, when we will find out where it's going to be before the race. But for right now, we don't know. It could be anything. But we will see you there for round number 4. Until then, guys, it is good night from me. Good night.